Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and today I'm going to do a little video to give you guys a heads up that Star Citizen has received an update. It's gone to 1.1.5. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't mean that we have the Star Marine first-person shooter module released yet. Unfortunately, that's still a whiles off. But they have gone ahead and added a new ship. So I'm really quickly just going to go look at the new ship. That way you guys can see it. They've also done a fair amount of tweaking to how that game actually plays when it comes to flying these ships. In the past, they could seem, well, pretty powerful. Like they were all just 6 degrees of freedom gods, basically. Well, now not so much. You'll notice that a lot of these ships, almost all of them, frankly, if not all of the ones currently, have large thrusters at the back. Whereas in-game, often it felt like you could move in any direction with the same amount of acceleration and speed. Well, now they've gone ahead and tweaked it so those large thrusters at the back are actually the main things giving you, well, propulsion. You can still go ahead and maneuver using the smaller maneuvering thrusters and use 6 degrees of freedom, but you're not going to be as quick as when it comes to the acceleration in each of those directions. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get in this ship. This is, I believe, the, what is its name here? Let's go ahead and make sure I got the name right as I'm climbing into it. The Kruger P-52 Merlin. This is a small snub fighter that comes with, I believe, 2, if not all 3 of the Constellation variants. And the idea is this is a small ship that docks in with the larger vessel, and you can go ahead and fly this around if your ship's ever attacked. Basically, you get attacked, you launch this little guy, and he does a bunch of fighting, and then redocks with you. Whatever you do, you don't want to jump away from this little guy, because it itself doesn't have any quantum drives or jump drives or anything of that sort. So, if you are the little guy stuck in this fight here and your main ship flies away, you're going to find yourself in a spot of bother, meaning that you're going to be trapped there without any rescue. It should be noted that if you own a Constellation Andromeda, Constellation Aquila, the Constellation Phoenix, 890 Jump, Idris, or Karak, you'll get a loner Merlin to fly around in when it comes to fighting and stuff in Arena Commander. Anyway, that's this ship. It's a pretty nifty little thing. I like it quite a bit. I might do a video going, just staring at it with my nose pressed up against everything, but no guarantees on that. I don't know. It's a wonderful ship. I'm just not sure it's big enough to dedicate a whole 20 minutes of me with my face 2 inches away from it. I'll go ahead and actually take this ship for a flight now, and you can see how it handles and actually see some of how the game has actually changed its flight mechanics. So let's actually go ahead and load into the Arena Commander, and we can of course do that from, I believe, just the escape menu, or from the cockpits you used to be able to do it. But one of the easier, well, not exactly easier, but more roleplay ways is to of course get in that simulator over there. Before doing that, let's go over to this panel. They have moved the location of basically your ship setup, and I don't remember this being colorized in the past, but they now have the coloring here, where you can actually see that these are pink because they're a rental equipment. You can see that on the left there, it'll say rental equipment when I mouse over them. And of course, this actually functions just as it does in the past. I should actually select a ship before I attempt to modify it, so I can go to weapons and pull off all this, and rotation is still wrong. You've swiped to the right by holding right mouse button and it still turns it the wrong bloody way. Anyway, let's go ahead and actually, oh dear, get out of this, go into that simpod and start a little tiny battle, shall we? And actually, let's not do a battle, let's do a battle so I can show that ship, the Merlin, off a little bit more. Then I'll switch over after a little bit of time into something you might be more familiar with, like the Gladiator. So, or the Gladius, I think actually is what I'll use. So let's go to Drone Sim, because I'm not much of one for multiplayer. Let's go ahead and switch over to, let's just do Broken Moon, it's my favorite. Get ourselves into a Vandal Swarm map, and go ahead and select the Merlin right there. I actually have 2 because I bought one. I'll be returning to the store for store credit. As I do, I shift money around like that so I can get a close look at the ships, because they won't show up in your hangar unless you actually buy them, even if you have the rental variant because you own one of the other ships. Just thought I'd put that out there just in case you do actually go to customize your hangar on the website and find, well, where's my ship? I can't seem to put it in my hangar. They said I got a loaner. As I said, only shows up if you actually own it. Otherwise, it's only when you're actually doing these combat things like this. And here we go, into game. Something you might notice there is actually, let's see, what button was it? Was it home to get the mouse to show up? I can never seem to remember this. Nope, that's a third person view. There, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. How have I forgotten it again? Okay, well, I can't remember the button to get my mouse show up. I thought it was home, but oh, there, it is showing up. It's just its sensitivity is through the roof. You'll notice right here, ESP. That's basically a slight auto aim. You can now turn that off in the settings. You can even bind a key to it for it. So I have it bound to a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, I have it bound to Alt, Control, Shift, Backspace. Yeah, kind of a slick key combination. Anyway, let's go ahead and actually get into the combat. They've also switched the... Wow, they already took one out. They've also switched the way a lot of weapons work in the fact that I believe they made size 1 weapons a little bit weaker, and they made size 2 weapons a little bit stronger. The idea behind this is that if you have a gimbal mount, which is where if I did a Control C, you can see I can aim over here, and if you have gimbaled weapons, you can actually shoot wherever I'm aiming off to the sides. If you have a gimbal mount, it basically takes the mount of a weapon down from a size 2 to a size 1 because you have that extra benefit of being able to aim it like that. Where they want it to be pretty balanced so that now if you don't have a gimbal, you can set a bigger weapon. That way, even though then you can only aim at the center of the screen, you'll be doing more damage. So let's go ahead and try to take this enemy out. And this little ship I actually got to, I believe it was wave 13 before I finally got killed just in this tiny little ship. You'll notice that its UI is a fair bit different than a lot of the other Star Citizen ships you've seen. In fact, different than all of them, really. And the fact that most of its UI, if not actually all of it, is not in your helmet like the other ones are, but it's actually on screen. And believe it or not, I actually find this far easier because it's compact. It's closer to the center of your screen, so you can actually see everything without having to look all around the edges of your screen. I do wish the FOV was a bit higher, as I do feel a bit claustrophobic in here, as if my face is pressed right up against the screen, but overall it is a pretty good ship when it comes to field of view, or at least view out of the window, and of course these systems are pretty damn visible. You'll notice though that a lot of stuff here that is 3D usually in other ships isn't 3D here, as in the fact that you have the little icons at the bottom left and the bottom right to show your enemies. They're not at a quarter angle, they're just straight on. Also, I believe the bottom left that shows our ship there is a bit reversed. You'd expect it to be looking from the top down on it, but basically it's as if you were looking... Oh dear, that's not good. There we go, got him. Down on it, or from below. So if I took out my left wing, and I'll just do that for demonstration. Somebody's shooting at me, but this ship is so small they can barely ever hit you. So if I was to go ahead and go towards this rock here, and we'll try to clip off my left wing. Come now, let's get to that rock a little bit quicker than I expected. Slower, and there we go. Okay, somehow I didn't lose a wing. That was a really fast impact. I expected to lose a wing there. I should also point out that they did up the health, dang it, of all of these ships. Woo! Some of them by as much as double ooh, that's so cool looking. To allow ships to last a bit longer in these combat situations, because they don't really want time to death to be instantaneous. I'm just trying to graze that left wing because it really bugs me. Oh, come on! Trying to crash and I can't crash. I guess it's a very controlled crash here, isn't it? Come on. Yeah! No, it took out the whole thing. Wow. Beautiful damage model there, eh? Yarp. Okay. Also, good time to show this off. As I said, they upped the health by about twice, some of the shields by twice. They've been tweaking a lot of that to make sure you don't die instantaneously. But something else they've done here is pretty awesome. They've changed the way the UI functions at the bottom here when you die. Instead of just having a big X to respawn in the middle, they actually have all this stuff along the bottom, including B, so you can hide it and just have awesome cinematic shots. It would be kind of nice if when you hid that, it hid the score at the very top. That way you could have a truly cinematic view. But let's be honest, well, let's be honest, they should do that, but whatever. They're not there yet, eh? You can, of course, go ahead and cycle through targets with your left and right click, and you can change the view by hitting your middle mouse button, so like this, I can actually move my camera about and see the ship being chased by other ones. Left click to get to another one and see it chasing it. Left click again to get to this guy here who actually has those turrets on top, which that's pretty damn awesome to see. Get him! Okay, so let's go ahead and actually hit X to respawn, shall we? There we go. And I'll actually try flying a bit more cautiously and actually pay attention. Like I said about that screen at the bottom left, if I lose my left wing, you would expect it to be the bottom wing displayed on that bottom left screen that would disappear, but unfortunately for some reason it's as if we're looking at the bottom of it, and it was the top wing that vanished on that screen. So I don't know, it just threw me off. I expected to be looking top down on it for some reason. Maybe I'll just get used to it, eh? As I said, 6 degrees of freedom still exists, so you can see I am able to move that little thing around on my screen using the W, A, and D keys, or because I have them bound to be my 6 degrees of freedom stuff. Yeah, pretty nice and nifty. In fact, it's not really W, A, and D as much as it's A, D, space, and C that I have mine bound to, and then I have it actually bound on a controller. You'll see those little bursts going off in space right there, those that were just right there. That's the edge of the world. Believe it or not, the edge of the world has become a little harder to see. I actually drifted out of it earlier without even, well, knowing where it was. Let's go ahead and grab this target and actually do some fighting. You'll also notice that a few other things are missing from this small ship. As I said, it's supposed to be deployed from a larger ship. It doesn't have flares on it, so if you have incoming missiles, you better just, well, run or avoid them in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, you're going to be in a spot of bother. Its weapons, I believe, are all size 1, at least the ones I'm firing, or it's got a minigun right in the middle that I'm firing right now. I say a minigun, it's a, well, what do you want to call it? It's a gigantic spinny gun of death. There we go. And it has ammo, you can see at the bottom middle, slightly to the left. Oh, dearie. That was close. It actually has ammo there, though. And, of course, that'll run down. The other two just have a heat level and energy level, but they seem to overheat pretty much instantaneously. Oh, actually, no. They're not overheating instantaneously. I guess that was a glitch when I was playing earlier. You can see their heat level actually fills up the word overheating. That's pretty awesome. You'll also notice that the radar on the ship isn't a proper 3D radar. It's, well, it's a bit odd, isn't it? It's sort of... well, I don't know. It's almost like some sort of new targeting reticle for itself. It works reasonably well, actually, though, I found, even though sometimes I find myself missing the proper ones of the past. Let's just go ahead and try to do some fighting here, though, shall we? Oh, dear. What else do we have? Something awesome that this ship has that other ships I don't believe have, besides having its UI closer to the center so you can actually see what's going on your ship's systems, is the fact that... oh, there we go. To the left there a little bit, if I was actually to do this, I can aim at it. That thing right there, it's very awesome. It basically shows you the thruster power in each direction. So right, if I do this, the bottom thruster is firing like crazy. If I slow down, it should be, yeah, the front thruster is firing. If I go forward, the back thruster is firing. It's really cool stuff, actually. I'm very fond of that. Let's go ahead. Oh, look at all the weapons fire. This is a very small ship, and of course with the changes to the way things fly, your enemies seem to be having a much harder time hitting you. This ship is actually very, very good. That is enemy fire coming backwards at me. I wasn't aware these ships could do that, but apparently they can. Let's go ahead and head over here and try to aim at this bastard, shall we? Oh, dearie. And you can see, there we go. Oh, little hit there. Our shields are at the bottom left. For such a small ship, this thing is actually pretty damn sturdy, actually, I found, though. And as for fuel, you might know that you can hold your shift button and boost forward to accelerate faster or make a turn quicker. They've sort of changed that a bit for all ships. You've always had fuel, but now your fuel will run out a fair bit, well, I'm not exactly sure quicker, but it'll take longer to regenerate. Also, on this small ship, it will not regenerate whatsoever. So if you look at the bottom there, you can see my throttle I'm taking up and down right now. Well, we have our fuel next to that, and if I boost a little bit, not really for any reason, but you see I've taken it down to 91.1. That will never go back up. Even when your weapons get restocked during these wave-based Arena Commander Vanduul Swarm things, every now and again your ammo gets restocked if you don't know. Well, your fuel doesn't get restocked either, which is a bit strange, but considering this is the only ship so far that has that, not too much of a surprise. Anyway, considering you've never really seen this ship before in combat, or not too much, you're probably not noticing too much of a difference in combat towards some of the other things. What I'm going to do right now, by the way, a bit of a red out there. You don't get that as much anymore, red out and blackout, because of the way they've changed the flight system. But what I'm going to do right now is actually exit this. Oh dear, that music and stuff was actually very loud for me. We're going to do back to hangar, and we're going to load up in the Gladiator. Or Gladius, pardon. Before I actually load into that, though, I'm going to point out that I have gone ahead, and let's click and drag down a little bit until we find the Gladiator, or Gladius, pardon, I keep saying that wrong. I have actually gone ahead and removed its gimbaled weapons from these 2 points here, and just replaced it with size 2 laser cannons. Because I like to fly with Control-C, with my targeting stuff locked to the center, I figured I'd try those out. I don't think I have any size 2 repeaters. I'd really like to use those. Is that a size 2 repeater? Aha, it is. Do I only have one of them? I do have another one. Good. So we can actually try that out. 2 size 2 repeaters, and then a single size 2 laser cannon at the front. That should be pretty fun there. I think that should be good. Yeah, this weapon I did notice actually is gimbaled. I don't think you can actually remove the gimbal mount on it. I don't see a gimbal mount showing up. It's because it's like a special point. God, it is annoying that you right-click and drag and it doesn't rotate it the way you'd expect. Okay, let's go ahead and exit this. That way it should hopefully save what we just did. Let's just go ahead and do a double check. Better safe than sorry and all that nonsense. Drag you in there. Yeah, it saves the repeaters where we wanted them. Good. And again, I'm used to pressing escape to exit things. Let's go to electronic access again. It'll take us once again to the selection screen between Star Marine and Arena Commander. Again, Star Marine can't access that yet. Let's click on the Arena Commander, which is the dogfighting module. And just do what we did last time, shall we? And let's actually go ahead and drone sim this up. Let's select a different map. We'll do the other map, the Dying Star one. I believe Gamescom is coming up, and they're going to be actually having... Where's my Gladius? There we go. They're going to actually be having a new map shown there, as well as some first-person shooter nonsense. Gladius, that looks good. Vandal Swarm, not Broken Moon. We wanted Dying Star. There we are. That should be very interesting to see the new map, because apparently it's huge, and they're actually going to let us use the Quantum Drive, I believe as it was called, to jump about and explore stuff, because it's going to be a pretty hefty, large area, and I'm hoping there'll actually be little places where we can land and look inside and things to explore. And I'm going to go ahead and fade past this loading screen. Whoop.
Vandal Swarm initiated.
There we go. A little bit of lag. You can see the turret right down there at the bottom. Actually does track my gun. That's what I was talking about. Gimbaled stuff if you didn't already know. Let's lock that. Now let's go ahead and get flying. See, this is the more of a normal user interface that you would get on ships, where it's all technically inside of your helmet. In fact, if we were to even go to third person... can I get a closer view? Well, actually, it looks like a lot of that's hovering in front of me, but... Oh god, you'll often see... Or at least I think it's designed to feel like it's in your helmet. Let's go ahead and find ourselves some enemies. They're all behind me. Fancy that. Let's decouple and just turn around, shall we? Hi! Oh dear, getting shot at a bit. So let's take ourselves a target and actually start fighting them, shall we? There we go. It is nice to have these repeaters. I'm a big fan of these things. And of course, because I'm also a big fan of them being locked to the center of the screen, I can also equip the larger ones because I'm not using a gimbal. There we go. There we go. No, no, no. Still need to get used to aim. By the way, as I said before, they've allowed you to disable ESP. By the way, here's what I'm talking about. The flight system has changed, and the fact that you saw me drift there so easily past them. Now, if I get going this way and I turn to my left, I'm still going to my left. You see that little thing at the left of the screen? It's slowly moving back to the center. No longer does your ship just instantly change directions when you aim another direction. You can boost, of course, to get yourself aiming in that direction, moving that direction faster, but you'll see there that I've used up a little bit of fuel at the center of the screen. You see it going down. I'm just boosting in a straight line. It shouldn't even let me do that because I'm already at max speed, but there you go. That slowly regenerates in this ship, unlike the other one. Let's go ahead and try to get a lock on you. I don't really have to worry about these weapons overheating, I don't think. Oh, dearie. You'll notice also that I don't believe in the past the UI was always green. I remember this ship being blue for some reason. It's possible and hopeful in the future that we'll be able to select the colors. I'd actually quite like either a blue or an orange, not sure which. You can see there again, though, I've skyrocketed past my enemy just because I was going far faster than them and not watching my throttle. You can, of course, press a keyboard and lock speed, so you should be able to match their speed, but I'm usually not a fan of that. It's taking me quite some time to get used to this new flight thing, but I think it's actually the right thing to do. It'll allow them to have very different ships, where ships with a lot of side boost or with a lot of maneuvering thrusters might have an advantage when it comes to 6 degrees of freedom movement, whereas ships that have a large thruster at the back might be able to move faster forward. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, let's just take out a few more and then end this video, shall we? I think I've gone over most of the most notable changes to this video. Not to this video, to this update. I should also point out the fact that... Oh, I should look at my radar instead of spinning in circles. I should also point out that the enemies we're fighting, you can now fly one of those if you're one of the backers who bought one of those eons ago. They're not going to be on sale again, I believe, ever. In the persistent universe, you'll be able to get one, but that's a little whiles off. They're a pretty nifty ship. I've seen a few people flying them. Their UI is fantastically done. Unfortunately, I can't show you that because I don't own one. But they're amazing stuff, and considering they're captured alien technology, when you're flying them, the UI will blink and sputter a little bit if you get hit and things like that, where the alien UI will almost show up and replace the actual human UI that you're using. It's pretty awesome stuff. Let's try to get these guys. You'll notice that some of these enemies I'm fighting here seem like they have their wings up and the landing gears down. I'm believing right now that's some sort of glitch, unfortunately, that's come in the latest update. But the version that you can actually fly, you can control whether or not you want that wing deployed or not. If I could aim better, that would have been an amazing maneuver. There we go. Let's go ahead and switch to this target. There we go. Get past him. Throttle down. Throttle up. It's still pretty amazing. Like I said, though, the new control system, it's taking me a long time to get used to it, but I figure once I get used to it, I'll be relatively as good as I was in the past, and of course if I put in practice, I'd be even better. Oh, dearie! Aaron, come on! Or you think you're flying? I'm gonna thrust a little bit to keep up with you. You can see if you thrust it, you might end up blacking out or redding out, and it's firing backwards again at me. Because when you do that... No! I should have tried the strafe to my left and just kept up with it. That would have been smarter than what I did there. Come on now, come on now. Oh, you prick. It does end up with a lot... Ah! How are you firing backwards at me? Looks to me like they're still facing forward, yet they're getting hit. I didn't realize they had that sort of technology. Yeah, sorry, I'm going quiet because I was getting hit and trying to concentrate. I've completely lost my train of thought is what I was talking about before that point. New flight system. It's different. It's more like you're in atmosphere, but I approve of that because it will allow them to do more unique stuff for each ship, instead of everything just being a perfect 6 degrees of freedom god. Come on. Come on. See, now what I should do is throttle down, and I should have just strafed with it. Or if I had a button bound so I could more easily access it, I could have turned off my couple mode so I can just drift. You see, now I'm drifting to my left constantly. Let's go ahead and find that last target over here. If you don't know, you can do the middle mouse button and select a missile lock like that. They have tweaked it so that it takes longer for some missiles to lock on, because they've also upped the amount of damage a missile can do. That one's going to hit straight into the asteroid, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, proximity alert. You can see how much I'm drifting. I'm still going to my left like crazy here. Of course, throttle down and continue onto my left, though. If I wasn't going at such a speed, I could have possibly aimed a bit better. I could have done more damage. Anyway, guys, I think... There we go. Oh, no, let's not hit that. Down, down. That's not good. Anyways, I think that's about it for this update. It's, that new ship is fancy. It's a very, very nice ship. This is, of course, the Gladiator, which is, my go-to ship for fighting. I, like it a lot, as I always seem to say. And you can see the strafing here. The thrusters are still firing like crazy, but I'm still going to my left. And... there we go. I'm now flying forward. So the strafing is like crazy now. You end up strafing all over the place. Ah, oh, God, I'm being shot at. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks a bunch for watching. And, yeah. Oh, God. I'll see you next time. It is a pretty game. No.